Vin, Paul, Ellie, Dave, Lisa, Daniel and Sebi. We wish you guys were here with us. We will miss you. However, we do trust that you are live with us in England, streaming. But we do know that you are very much in spirit, right here with us now. To family and friends that are here with us, and to those family and friends that are joining us from around the world. I'm truly honored to stand here and bid you a very warm welcome for a celebration of a wonderful life lived. A daughter, sister, wife, mother, grandmother, aunt, and to so many, a special friend, Winifred, Mary, Toomer. And to you, Winnie, Paul, Ellie, Dave, Lisa, Mom, Daniel, Granny, to Sebi, Gaga, and to the rest of us, Win. I say a celebration, as I know there will be more to follow when the family returns home to England. To Win's family, and of course to yours, Vin. Our sincere condolences to you for your loss. We know how much she was and meant to you all. If there is anyone watching out there that's getting a bit confused and puzzled at what's going on here, I suggest that you're on the wrong YouTube channel, and I'd like you to please log off. For those of you that don't know me, as my kids call me, fat, overweight, tall, my hair's out of control. Ali promised to take control of my hair, but alas, we ran out of time. I'm Glenn. I'm privileged to be able to call myself a friend of Win's and the Toomer family. I am, however, slightly in a dual role here, because more specially to me, referred to as Vin's adoptive son. So, Paul and Ellie, a brother. By an incredible adoptive family. As most of us would know, Win truly did not enjoy a fuss, and least of all to be fussed over. The most important thing when you entered her home was for you to relax and enjoy yourself. For this very reason, it was always a warm, friendly atmosphere full of loved ones and an incredible amount of laughter. This is what welcomed all that had the privilege to visit Win in her home. Win had her very own raconteur in Vin. How many of us have not been entertained by stories of their incredible adventures across the world? As much as SA was the chosen home, for Win especially, there was always a foot back in the UK. For those that are watching from afar, some would know Johannesburg, South Africa from your visits, or perhaps having lived here. So just to set the space, we're at the Four Ways Memorial Park, a beautiful area in Sandton. The sun is shining, 22 degrees outside, almost through autumn, and we've still got a gorgeous day. That's exactly why Win just loved this place, and Vin making the home for Paul and Ali to grow up in. South Africa, as I say, one home, England the other home, and certainly for good reason. Paul and Ali chose to make UK their home. Win was so incredibly proud of you, Paul and Ali. She spoke of your great successes that you guys have achieved to date. She spoke fondly of Dave and Lisa and the immense joy it gave her knowing that her son and daughter had married and were enjoying such incredibly successful marriages. However, the best honor to last, her two grandsons. I'm afraid of stealing someone else's thunder, so I'm not going to say anything more about Daniel and Sebi. Win did not suffer fools gladly. And I have it on good authority, she was a very good judge of character. Although, as I cast my eyes around here, the incredible thing for a number of us was the youth that Win, together with Vin, exuded. I know that I've had the privilege as a Charmaine meeting most of you, and I know that we were known to many of you as Vin and Win's young friends. Vin and Win were known to many of our friends as our older friends. So when turning 40, Vin and Win was certainly up on the VIP list to join the celebration. I recall, as many of you will, Vin's 70th birthday. And the one thing I do know is that Win had an incredible sense of humor, because for the youngest of the crowd to be arriving with a Zimmer frame with balloons on it for Vin would have taken some doing if Win was not going to have a laugh at it. Through this strange, awkward year that we've been through, it's uncanny how the year afforded Win and Vin to spend the entire year plus some in the UK with their favorite people. Paul and Ali, Dave and Lisa, Daniel and Seb. We were always rather jealous when Win and Vin were flying back to the UK. So it was with great delight that we received Win and Vin back in South Africa, and as I can speak on behalf of many friends sitting here, great delight in being able to get together again with them in their home with laughter and great pleasure. So Charmaine and I and a number of others here present have had the real treat of being able to have a glass of wine and socialize with Win on a number of occasions over the last few months. Less than 3 weeks ago, I had the pleasure of chatting to Win. As we all know, Win was not particularly interested in having a cell phone of her own, so she would be Vin's PA a lot of the time answering the phone. And I happened to get her out at lunch with Vin, and she sounded so incredibly positive. She sounded so incredibly happy. It was the first time over the last number of months where she really just sounded her old self. Would you like to speak to Vin, Glenn? If he's available. My lovely husband. My lovely husband is dropping off a new set of drawers that I've just bought in the car. I'll get him to call you when he's back. Those words I'll never forget. And Vin called back as chirpy and happy as ever, because his Vinny was in actual fact, his Winnie was in actual fact having such a wonderful day out. Vin sent me the 2 photos that were taken of them at lunch, and I know that those are 2 photos that the family will so look forward to looking at over and over again. No selfie, one taken of each other. Charmaine, my wife, said something to me the other day as we were chatting about our Toomer family. She said, you know what strikes me most, Glenn, is they do life together. It really settled on me. And I think for many of us, we may actually just need to let that sink in. They do life together. I've never met another family that enjoys each other's company quite as you do. Vin, you and Win created an incredible family. We all know Vin's attitude to life. There's only one way, and it's straight up. I've never heard Vin having had a bad meal. In fact, if we all had to frequent the restaurant that he had the best of this or the best of that, it would be their incredible success. Nothing was too difficult for Vin and Win to do, to support their friends. Vin, we've had the great pleasure, a number of us, supporting you through this difficult time. But as I said to Paul and Ali, we were absolutely no substitutes for their arrival. And I just saw Vin's shoulders go back and chest out as soon as we found them in the airport when we fetched them last week. Forgive me for a cliche, but behind every great man, we could have said something about a mother-in-law or something like that, but yes, an absolutely incredible wife and a strong woman, and perhaps even a better woman. Win, you'll be sorely missed. We love you. Paul.
Thank you, Glenn. You say such wonderful things. And you've been. Yeah. The trouble is, he's 6'4" and I'm 4 foot and a tea leaf. I'd just like to good afternoon first, everybody. It's so wonderful to see you all here. We really do want this to be a celebration of Win's incredible life. Mrs. Winifred Mary Jones Toomer. Just hanging, I'll get there. You know, it's an incredible thing that she will be surrounded by so many family and friends in this way, and also with it being beamed around the world. It just seems incredible that people can share today with us. You know, there are people watching from New Zealand, Australia, Britain, the continent, America. It's quite phenomenal. You know, I tried to sum up just a few words that would I thought I was going to do this easy. she loved everything. She was an incredible woman. She just loved so many things. She loved her family. She loved her family of friends all over the world. She loved music. She loved flowers. My God, she loved flowers. And what a beautiful thing has happened. She also loved food and music and entertaining. And can I just... She loved entertaining. She loved red wine. And all these things were part of her. She just loved all these things. First and foremost, she loved me. And then there were incredible children. No, I've got to get together. She loved her incredible children, Alison and Paul. They were so amazing, 2 children to have. And then she gained 2 more children in Lisa Coe and David, because they were just another 2 children. And then the cherry on the cake was the 2 grandchildren, Sebastian and Daniel. And they were just added a new dimension of love to her. And only people who are grandparents, there's a lot of people out there who are grandparents, and they, I'm sure, can understand what I mean by that. It's a different level of love. And it just added to this whole picture of a most amazing family. Then she had this amazing family in the UK, mainly in the UK anyway, the Toomer and the Jones clan. And the parties and the wonderful times we've had with all those people in the UK, which unfortunately can't be here today, but I'm hoping are watching. And we travelled so much with them, so we did such wonderful things. And then she had this amazing world family of friends. And I'm saying family of friends because that's what they are. And they're spread all over the world, and no matter where we went, we had that family to be with and fall back on, which was quite amazing. I've lost my point now. As far as entertaining is concerned, she was just the master entertainer. Our life was immensely enhanced in everything because she loved entertaining. So we always had friends and family, and we had such incredible times over the years with the times that we've had with all of you at some stage or other. So it's been a wonderful experience. And of course, one of the things she loved was flowers. And thank you, Jill and Ali, for this unbelievable display, especially those little butterflies flying across there. They're quite amazing. This she would have absolutely adored. It was the one thing that she always loved, the flowers, apart from the red wine. And the red wine used to creep in quite a lot. And then she loved music, and travel was one of our major things. We literally travelled. We circumnavigated the world, I don't know how many times. I was trying to work out the other day that we probably travelled from Johannesburg to London some 120 times. We cruised around the world, even when we emigrated here, which never seemed to be a trauma at all. It just seemed so easy, and yet we were falling off the end of the world, really. And that was, we came by sea. We had an amazing cruise. We had such a time, and we had no idea what we were coming to, who we were going to find. And we had a little chap called Paul who used to wander around the ship and get lost while we were in the bar, of course. And then she fell pregnant with my wonderful daughter, who's always had a wanderlust because she was conceived in the Bay of Biscay. And then she arrived. So we had a bit of a baptism of fire, in as much that we landed in this country with one little fellow and a baby on the way, no job, no money, no nothing. But it never seemed to be a problem. We just had a wonderful time, and we met wonderful friends, and it just developed from there. You know, we traveled to some of the most exotic places in the world, Machu Picchu, the Patagonian Straits. We went to China, we went to the Great Wall of China, the Terracotta Army, Hawaii, Australia, throughout the Middle East, the Far East. We traveled, I don't know how many cruises. I think we cruised on every one of the Marys, the Queens, Queen Mary, Queen Elizabeth. It was just an astonishing life we lived. So you can always look back on this and say, wow, what a life. You know, we were, it was an 83 years of an incredible adventure. Of which we spent 56 years of marriage together. The one wonderful thing was at the end, though, she slipped away incredibly peacefully. Virtually, as Glenn has said, from a most amazing day out, and then the next day she just slipped away. So be ever grateful for that. Anyway, when my last goodbye to you, I love you. Thank you very much.
Epitaph by Merritt Malloy. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give to me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved. And if you cannot give me away, at least let me live on in your eyes and not your mind. You can love me most by letting hands touch hands, by letting bodies touch bodies, and by letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die, people do. So, when all that's left of me is love, give me away.
It's very odd for Danny and I to be here and not with you all to help Dad and Ali and Paul and to say farewell to Mum in person. But I thought I'd deliver this message to Mum in the back garden, wearing a bright shirt that I bought in New Orleans on that wonderful trip I had with Mum and Dad back in 2018. I'm sure that's what she would prefer. Anyway, dearest Mum, we met in 1995 when I became special friends with your lovely daughter Alison. Needless to say, you weren't overly impressed with me immediately, but I really liked you. You always spoke your mind and did quite a few times to me, and I found you truly charming straight away. Over a lively meal with friends at the Big Easy, you were planning your Christmas do in South Africa and issued a very unexpected invitation to me. Very unexpected to Ali as well. I cordially accepted. I'm not sure Ali was quite so pleased about that at the time. But there became my lifetime change of the path of my life and my lifetime love of not only Ali, but of you, Mum, and Dad, and Paul, and all the many friends that I would never have met, perhaps, if you hadn't have issued that cordial invitation. You've always made a very special place for me in your family and counted me as one of your children. And over the years, we've sung our hearts out, we've travelled, we've laughed ourselves stupid, we've danced, we've bickered from time to time, but we've always easily made up. And it's always been a joy for me keeping your glass topped up and always protecting the Queen. You could always seemingly whip a meal up from nowhere. Your curry is legendary, and I'm very pleased you managed to pass your recipe on to Lisa before you left us. You live life fully and brightly, and you were always filled with love and kindness. You helped us all shine, us and our children, and that is a hell of a legacy to leave behind. You will live on in our hearts and our memories, and you'll come alive in the stories that we tell, but life will never be the same without you here with us. We'll have tough times ahead, but we will take good care of each other, and we will keep each other close. Bless you, Mum, and bon voyage.
Okay. My dad was going to try and make this upbeat and fun and failed dismally, I might add. So let me give it a little crack. So I keep having to pinch myself that this has actually happened. Just 1 minute we're just talking to her, and the next she's gone. I must have pinched myself 1,000 times today that I wouldn't be standing here. So let's get on with it. So I'm trying to speak for Ali and myself, but unfortunately it'll always come back to me because my mom was my confidant. My dad never really understands me properly. Very few people did. My dad makes assumptions about me when everyone in the world knows you should never make an assumption about me. Whereas my mother never did. So, but I've been thinking a lot about this, and the pain is unbelievable. I know that many of you have been through what we're going through together, and it's a whole new kind of pain. But if you think of life as a balance, and you get 55 years of the most amazing life, this is a small price to pay for that. Oh, God, I'm failing as well, Jesus. All right, so everyone knows how much my mum loved life. She fought, she clung on to it, she wasn't going anywhere. At 83, she just kept beating everything against the odds. And she never did anything by half, did she? You know, she comes to England, opens a drawer, breaks her left femur, right femur. That's not enough, you know. On the night before my dad's birthday, she falls down a hole, breaks the other one, right? But that's not enough. She falls over and tears her knee open. Then that's not enough. She gets sepsis, right? Then that's not enough. She gets COVID, and she just cruised through it all with this incredible desire to live, which is astonishing. And I'm pretty sure that we all agree that my mom has cruised into heaven with her hair on fire, a glass of Merlot in the one hand, and she's already told God that she wants tea with a tea bag on the side and cold milk, and don't muck around. And where's the G&T, right? So God's having a hell of a time at the moment, I can tell you, right? So it's really weird that, I mean, yesterday we went to buy clothes for my dad, because he's lost so much weight that he's starting to look like my Uncle Arthur. Actually, he was starting to look like my granddad, right? It was baggy clothes everywhere. I thought he was going to pull his trousers up to here for a moment. And I got home with these trousers, and I just naturally ran up the stairs to show her. It was the most bizarre thing. I got into the bedroom, and she's not there. It was just so strange. So our mom was everyone's mom. I can't even imagine, I can't work out the numbers of how many of you have called her mom or granny or one of those words during her life, which I think is absolutely fantastic. And obviously, as she grew older, she became everyone's granny or grandmother, right? So a couple of stories. We had the most incredible life, growing up with two people who partying was the be-all and end-all of their life, right? If they weren't having fun, they weren't doing it. End of story, right? And if it didn't involve copious amounts of alcohol and huge amounts of food, it seriously was not worth attempting. So I remember me and Ali running into their room to try and get them out of bed at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, because they'd rocked in at 4 o'clock in the morning. And only to the bed covers to open up, and the two of us would climb in, the bedclothes would close, and all of us would go back to sleep at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. They sometimes never even got out of bed, right? I gave my mom a really easy life. She's very lucky to have a son like me, I might add, okay? I waited until I was 21. She forbid me to have a mohawk. She forbid me to have my nose pierced, and she forbid me to have these evil tattoo things. I waited till I was 21, and I walked in with all three of them done. And she swore she wasn't going to talk to me for a month. And the first tattoo, I think she hung out for 4 hours before she caved in. She thought it was a decal, and after 4 weeks of that decal still being there, she's like, those stickers really work well, don't they? I said, it's a tattoo, Mom. And obviously the second tattoo, she said she wasn't going to speak to me for 2 months, and she lasted about an hour and a half before I crawled on her lap and made her forgive me. She was an incredible mum. Me and Ali were hell-bent on being different. We didn't want to conform in any way with anything. So it was new romantics 1 week, punks the next, heavy metal heads the rest. Those of you remember coming to the dinner party, you didn't know what Paul and Ali were going to come down the stairs wearing. And I remember Hillary looking at me the one day going, you can't go out like that. And I remember my 21st birthday party, some of my parents' friends expecting there to be a mass punch-up because there was mohawks and piercings and tattoos and men wearing dresses and obviously there was never any of it. And I remember being at a friend of mine's wedding. I was wearing a David Sylvian suit. Right, I've got it from England. It was light blue and wore a tie and all my earrings in. And my mum was standing in the queue. I was a couple in front of my mum, and my mum was standing in the queue. We were going to get dinner, and this woman was standing behind my mum, and she's like,
I wonder why that boy has got 3 earrings in each ear. And my mum turned around and went, because I won't let him have 4. She was absolutely brilliant. She always defended us, and which was absolutely awesome. So she had to, her and my dad and Ali had to deal with multiple motorbike crashes, 4.5 months in hospital. That turned my mum grey overnight when she came to see me in the hospital. I also am not a natural gifted drummer. However, I made it a semi-professional drummer. So you can imagine my poor mum and dad and Ali listening to me tried to learn something that I'm just not built to play. 1 week out from finishing the army, I decided to go and get heinously drunk with some friends and decided to do a burnout outside Hillbrow Police Station. Didn't even know Hillbrow Police Station existed. Bear in mind, Hillbrow Police Station is about as big as this whole complex. And 30 seconds later, there was blues and twos behind me. And my mum had to come and bail me out of jail. So, you know. And then she's put up with a heck of a lot from me. But we are such a close family that it's just every moment has just, you never know what the next one's going to be like. It's just been so exciting. So I hope wherever she is now, she's challenging them like she challenged us. She has obviously got her 2 grandkids, the perfect little boys. But she has decided, her and my dad, especially my mum, have decided that they will use my Sebastian as revenge on all the years of misery that I caused them. Right? Especially, but Dad, I really need it. I will die if I don't have it, Dad. They'll run out of stock, Dad. I'm telling you, Dad, right? I'm sure that she sits with Sebastian and says, go and tell your dad you'll die if you don't have it, right? Because he is a complete revenge. The grandkids were obviously so close to my mum as well, culminating in this one perfect night where Sebastian sat at the table and he said, now, you listen to me. If any of you talk about raid or scuba diving at this table, I'm just going to get up and bugger off. Right? And I looked around and my mum went red because my mum always, as you all know, she goes, oh, bugger off, right? Okay? And Sebastian thought that was just a normal word. So I'm going to close out. I hope that you just remember, well, I know you just remember all the great things about my mum. She was my mom, granny, guggy, sister, wife. I'm just devastated by this. But we will get through it. We will celebrate. This afternoon we will celebrate and celebrate. And every day I'll celebrate her life. So, thank you. Bye, Mommy.
The toilets too. I've shown the toilets too.